Hey, good afternoon. This is Bob from Trade Genius. It's the 30th of August, and it's a Tuesday. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to blast through my watch list, and I'm just going to point out some uh, areas to buy and areas to reduce or to sell. And if there's an opportunity, I'll point out some shorts. So with Nugget, I'm not really going to talk about Nugget too much because I'm going to actually talk about it when I talk about Dust and GDX. So I'm going to just move forward. And the same with the miners. They're still selling down, and so just waiting for buy signals. It'll be across the board for all my small cap miners. Same with AXU. First Majestic. And First Majestic is getting pretty close to an interesting buy area for me. And if you notice a trend here, I'm going from the lowest percentage gain to the highest percentage gain in my watch list. And SILJ, I pointed out a buy on this at 1480. In fact, I'm going to flip over to the daily. And so I'm looking for it to tag that yellow line and the blue VWAP line, and that'll be an area to either enter SILJ or to add to. Gray Panther, again, I'm just waiting for buy signal on these, but I pretty much just FYI, I'm in SILJ and I'm in SLW, and so I prefer those over any individual names just because of event risk per each company or miner. But I just have them on here as just something to keep an eye on. And GDXJ, they're just about at my buy point. So I would say if we get anywhere near tomorrow high 41s, I would probably be a buyer of GDXJ. And GDX actually broke into my buy area today, and so my recommendation is would be to buy GDX on the open. Cleveland Cliff is probably 544, 540 area would be a great area to enter Cleveland Cliff, and I would ignore that potential head and shoulder pattern and just go with the volume. SLW, my buy to enter is around 2280. Probably tomorrow will be around 23. May not necessarily get there. As you can see, I'm just following the volume up on it, and just be a good place for it to enter. I'm considering the miners in a bull market, and if that doesn't hold, it'll definitely come back to it pretty fast. U-Gold, I think gold has now gotten to the point where tomorrow will probably be a place to make an entry in gold. So if you want to put gold with leverage, anything around 1250 to 1280 would be a good place to buy it. In Kana, I've been watching these natural gas heavy energy companies, and so it's been a nice move, but I'm just waiting for the VWAP to catch up to it. So if you want to buy, I would buy it around $8. We already hold at CHK. FAZ, we only short the triples, so except for one, ERX, because it's in a bull market. So I'm holding off on talking about FAZ. SPLK is coming into a buy area again as well, and so I'd be a buyer of SPLK if it got into the 55, 56 area, but not a buy yet. UVXY is never a bad time to short UVXY, it appears. So we're long XIV. So, but if you only want to trade the option, the UVXY puts at the money, 10% below the money, a couple weeks out, usually pays you every time. Same with TVIX. JJG, I think we're washed out on the AGs. It broke below the linear regression band here, and it's just way under VWAP. And so I think anybody who wants to take a shot here, there's an opportunity here to potentially get 3 or 4 points on this thing. China again, we'll look at FXI in a sec. Chocolate, you can only trade this really in the futures, but I follow it, and sometimes I trade it in the futures, and it's down cycling, so I'm just waiting for my buy signal to turn it back up. Same with corn. Corn's getting washed out here as well. And in fact, I added some in the futures, and I also added some wheat in the futures as well, personally. Well, wheat, I have shares. Oil is just about at my buy point, 565. I've been waiting on it. It's getting pretty close, but we'll see if I get a buy signal on it before I get 565. I'll buy oil. SLV is just about at my buy point. Looks like, I've been waiting for a long time to actually buy it at 1650, and it looks like it's going to get there. And that's kind of where I'll finish up my buy on silver. ERX, I own ERX, and I'm waiting for it to jump the shark here with oil going up and the market going up. And I think ERX is going to fly. So I'm holding some. I've been holding it for about a month off and on, and so I'm back in it again, and my intention is to hold hopefully this for good 30 to 60 days. We talked about wheat. GLD it's just about at its buy point, anywhere between 124.50, 125 would be a good place to take a shot. I think it's Tuesday night, so they tend to try to do opposite, and they really pushed it down hard. And now the COT report will be showing how short everybody is, and give everybody an opportunity to maybe potentially ride a slingshot back higher on gold. And so it's just bouncing off its moving average, a moving average that's going up, by the way. And I think it'd be a good place to make a purchase. VXX, we talked about volatility. Sugar just keeps driving along here, but if you want to get in it, I would probably wait for it to come back down into the high 43s and let it touch its VWAP here, and then take your shot. But sugar just has tremendous strength, and it's almost close to a double here. And that's typically a La Nina phenomenon, is you get a double or a triple in these. So that's why I've been patient with the grains, because the softs have been cooperating somewhat, sugar being the most cooperative. But cocoa and coffee have been positive trades as well. Apple, it's just swinging back down to its moving average VWAP. So if you own it, probably sell it and wait to pick it back up again around 98, 99, or the next buy signal. Labu, right now still consolidating. Probably would be a buyer of it around 32, 33. TZA, I'll move on that. XLE. XLE is a similar to ERX, and I've been in and out of that. Right now, I'm out looking for the next buy signal to get back in. It'll probably happen before it hits the moving average at 67 area, and I'll go long. XLE then. And cotton, cotton sold off here pretty hard. It looks like it's hit its moving average and held. It's below VWAP. It's getting pretty washed out. So it'd probably be as good a place as any to take a shot long if you're interested in going long cotton. TLT, it's interesting, because the Federal Reserve, they're buying SPY and they're buying the bonds. So that's why everything keeps going up, but looks strong. And, I don't really trade TLT. I have it up here more for my own edification as to what people are buying and selling. But it just looks like it has a nice bid to it. SSO, right now, SPY is consolidating a little bit here, but it's just drifting up higher. And so SSO looks like it's consolidating, but it'll be a buy long before it touches its moving VWAP again. So probably in the next day or two. Biotech, again, it's consolidating. And, if it touches the 57, 58 area, probably a good place to buy. And no rush to own it, but that's a nice series of lower highs and lows here, double bottom in May and June. So it looks like biotech's surviving the political onslaught for the moment. We'll see if that continues. DBA, we talked about it, nice little hammer today on it, but DBA is more than grain, so it's been holding it. And I own DBA, and it's a long-term account. I don't trade it, and so it's just tucked away. I'm looking actually for a double on DBA. So just FYI, my thinking on this is that we go from El Nino to La Nina. And there's a lot of surplus they're burning through right now, but there's some areas of the world that are really, really hurting. And I think once they evaluate the harvest and the stockpile for next year, I think we're going to see a good bid on the grains. SP 500 talked about SSO. It's it just keeps on moving on. I think we'll get another buy signal on SPY before we touch the moving VWAP. And so there's just nothing to short. I sold some credit spreads on it. I'm going to close those probably tomorrow. They're almost totally profitable for me. And so I sold the 2020s 0.5 and the 2022s. And so I'll be closing those off. I'm already at like 90% profit on them. SPY, see, it's still sitting above that range, and that it was in since all of the year of 2016. Touched it, bounced off of it. Looks like it's trying to make a new range, and so again, there's nothing to short here yet. It's consolidating on high. XON, I talked about this a little bit yesterday, still consolidating. And this one is, once you get a buy signal, you just got to grab it for a day or two and try to make some money and get out, because it's a widow maker when you're wrong. And I've been wrong a few times on this. It just moves very quickly. Brooks Automation, it's another one that's just moving up nicely. It's coming off of a high here, and I'm not really sure what's going to happen with this. I don't like it's making a lower high on the move, so it may go down and try to test those moving averages. So I'd probably wait on taking a position in Brooks. We've traded this one before. In fact, in 1991, I think it was 91. It was the early 90s when I traded this one. This was the very first trade I ever took. So so it's sentimental value for me. And no reason to short SPY right now. IWM, it's just small caps are just grinding away here, and If you're in it for the long term, still looks pretty good. Just consolidating on high, and there's nothing to say to sell the Russell. SRS, it's amazing what real estate is that I think once they do start raising interest rates, or they can't get prices to move up when they lower interest rates, is when we'll have a good shot again at SRS. But I've just been staying away from it pretty much the whole year. Pac B is just not doing anything. It's a story play, so I'm looking hopefully to get a good entry again and take another shot at this thing long to see if I can catch a good move like in the beginning of the year. SDS we talked about. Coffee, this one's grinding up, has some drama to it, but it keeps moving up. And if you're not in it, you might as well just wait for it to hit the moving average, because it'll come back to it. But I think once it breaks that red moving average, which is equivalent to the 50, then I think coffee's gonna rock and roll. If you notice here, I don't know if you can call that a cup and a handle, but it's definitely consolidating. And I think once it breaks over 23, it's going to really go. TNA, same. The biotech, if it gets up to around 35, 36 area here, this is the short. This is what I talked about. I'd rather short the triples if I can. And so I'll be waiting for it to get up there if I can get it up to 35, 36 area, and put a short on it. Drip, I think oil and the drillers are going to be just fine. So I'm putting this one on the shelf for a while. The dollar, we've just been watching the dollar here, waiting for it to roll over to get any kind of real bid on these commodities. So we'll see if the payroll report gives us any opportunity to do that. But it's been trading in a really tight range for pretty much the last 6 months, and so I'd love for it to roll back down so I can monetize some of my positions. FXI, I'm looking to see if we get this thing up around 40, and it'd be a good area to short FXI. SVXY, I'm long XIV, so I'll talk about XIV here in a sec. CRK, I'm waiting for it to come down so I can get in the position here, but this thing, when it moves, it moves. I just started following it about a week ago, so it's already was pretty good move already on it. So I don't want to chase a double in a month. So I'm waiting for it to pull back and then jump back in again. But I think this thing will, if I get it down to 5, I think it'll double again. XIV, we're in XIV and pretty much gonna hold it probably through the payroll report. I don't see the payroll report being bearish for the market, because nothing's bearish for the market anymore, it seems. So I'll just assume that they'll just grind the volatility down again. And the Fed's out there talking this morning about trying to convince us they're going to raise interest rates. The market basically ignored him. They're more interested in what's going on with I think with oil earlier in the day. AMNT, this is a nice stock that I trade a few times. It's pretty much at the end of its move here, so let it recycle and look for an opportunity to get back in. Again, LABD, I'm looking for it to get up to 30, be placed as short just like BIS. We're in CHK, pretty much 5 or 6 cents below this number is our entry, and just holding it. Didn't really do much today, and looking for it to regain its 50 and for a very, very interesting fall and winter so that it's going to be very cold. Just about everybody you talk to, and I think it's going to really ramp natural gas prices. So this is the way I'm going to play it with ECA, CHK, and CRK. ERY, staying away. It's on the shelf. And the VIX, I just use it to check the temperature, but it touched the VWAP and it sold back down from it, and so I just think probably the rest of the week's gonna be pretty benign. Yesterday they pushed the market and tested the range high. Today they pushed the market down, tested the range low. Everything came right back into the center here, and so my expectations, if there are people really worried, this thing would be pushed over VWAP right now, and it's not. It's already getting overbought again. So this might be the big push down here before we get any kind of meaningful sell-off in the market. And INO, we're out. Oops, that was too fast. We're out. So I'm just watching for it to come back in again. I totally blew that one. I panicked out. It was a great company, and it paid those who stayed. But it's pretty much probably at the end of its move for right now. Again, and same with FAS. I bought it, made 1% on it, panicked out on Friday, and it keeps paying. And so sometimes, you think it's easy to trade. Sometimes, even though the signals tell you everything, and when you're dealing with your own money and telling people what to buy and sell, sometimes you get nervous, and that was the case here. So bailed on it. See if it pulls back, but I think the banks are getting a run here because they think they're going to win either way. Interesting with potash, and we have another one coming up here in a second. But my view is to buy some potash stocks and just hold them. Is that some of these areas that are being hard hit with rain, and also that damaged crops are going to have to pour on the fertilizer to jumpstart these crops, or to get them moving faster so they don't get tagged with an early frost or a late start because of spring frost. So IPI is a small cap. It's easy to buy, and you can just tuck it away, and definitely I think it's going to be a double and a triple for sure. And MOS is what I'm talking about. This is one we hold long term, and it's just a beautiful chart. And once it gets over that 50 and that 50 turns up, then this baby's going to the moon. And dust, we're about ready to short dust. So probably give it a couple more days, and it's going to be a great opportunity to short. And J-Dust is the same as dust. And I think that's it. So sorry for the long video, but I think hopefully you got something out of it, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.